Here we go for another rock and roll march. Overtime, every time with yours truly, we're gonna go around about my neighborhood. Gonna watch for cars left and right because you never know. The brakes malfunctioning, it's kind of sleep. So I gotta watch my steps. Lost electricity power this morning, but I gotta salute the Hydro-Quebec workers. I only did one laundry, so when I go back I gotta do a one late one. So grateful, thankful, rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee. A little quicker today. To the neighborhood, you're still encouraging all to work out, train, exercise. Working out, training, exercising has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. Construction workers, LOV, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks, and all involved in the production, distribution of food. Farmers, food production, starts with the farmers, and truckers with the construction workers, they gotta get doing on that, and that's why they gotta get some LOV to the firefighters. And gonna check out a little bit of the fridge. I think we got some food. Is there some food here? Oh yeah, it seems like there's some food, so there's gonna be some good food for some people, so that's gonna be good. Just gonna take the bread only, just gonna take that bread, but gonna let the other food for somebody else. See, you can come take the food and serve yourself and eat and get a little bit of those. I'm actually gonna take the carrots. Thank you for the carrots, but I'll leave the other food. And you got 3 plates, you can check the food there and nourish your body if you want. And here we go, rock and roll as I go, from my neighborhood roundabout. Thank you for the cooks, those who making food security donations, we gotta always appreciate. And what is that? A little bit of hydration therapy. I have no idea what is that. Oral rehydration restores essential, or the seals off though. Essential fluids, unflavored. I never tried it, but anyways, now I'm thinking of disinfecting my hands. I actually washed my hands before I touched here, so my hands are pretty clean, but always good to make hygiene a proper public, invest in public hygiene and do our diligence and do part, for the public sanitation. And I actually picked up the compost, so I gotta get doing with that, and gotta put it on the compost bin, and gotta get it on that recycling, and the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, and the grocery store clerks, all involved in the production, distribution of food, all those. And gotta stack this in the backpack. So I left some of the food there, and gonna go back to the headquarters and meditate, meditate, and that's what I do on my long marching vlogs 24/7, for the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the farmers, and the grocery store clerks, all involved in the production, distribution of food. Gotta send some LOV of that good rock and roll. Thank you for the bread donations, I didn't check the expiry date, but it looked fine. It's probably gonna be eaten a little bit later tonight, the bread, and whatever the case may be, of the bread, and that's what it is with that. And that's why we gotta get it on the go. So that's why we need to. I'm gonna take a peek. Turn my head left and right. Turn your head left and right before you cross the street. Because you never know, the brakes malfunction, and I gotta take a peek, of course, to see. Oh yeah, the sun, my Publik, the sun got a little bit of flash, so we're just gonna go straight towards the sun and circumvent and come roundabout and do like a little bit of a circle like we did yesterday across the neighborhood, Yeah, see, through the clouds. It's a cloudy day. It's a little bit of the snowy side, but I see a little bit of peak, a little bit of golden yellow. So I guess the sun's piercing through those clouds, but I also got $5 and I want to get some sweets. So I'm kind of debating where I'm going to get those sweets, where I can find them on special somewhere, at a store. But my to-go stores are the more affordable ones, so that's principally on the list, unless I say that now that I have some multi-grain bread, maybe I could do my own dessert and just eat some peanut butter sandwiches, and that's gonna be like dinner, and at the same time it's gonna be like dessert, dinner and dessert to get a joint. And anyways, encouraging all to work out, train, exercise. We're gonna set up here a little bit of shop and just put this in my backpack and go around about zigzag, snake style, freestyle, rock and roll for the butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, and truckers on the road now across Canada, North America. You know, they're always getting on the go and always gotta meditate upon what's happening with all of our civilization, the North American civilization. It's Canadians, Quebecers, North Americans. It's North Americans unite, North Americans unite. So that's what we gotta get doing. That's what we got. Auctioning this backpack for $1 million. Auctioning this backpack for $1 million. Gonna give half 50% to my anonymous friends. So here I am gonna stack up the bread, and the case may be gold, and it says, nah, yeah, it has to be eaten. It says December 21st, so this has to be eaten, and I haven't inspected the donations. Has to be. I'm gonna probably put a slow cook tomorrow or Saturday. And these, I guess, yeah, they have to be eaten also. So thank you for the food donation. And there was a lot of food today there. It was kind of stacked inside those bowls, the bins. You know, they were stacked a little bit in those bins, and always appreciate. I left it for somebody else, you know, because I take more than I put nowadays, financially stressed, but you know, joyous. Gratitude is a great component for mental health, you know. Gratitude is a great component for mental health. Being grateful, you know, is a great component in mental health. I find that gratitude is something which helps me in regular physical exercise, you know. So which way to go? Gonna go get maybe, gonna put this right there, and we can go circumvent roundabout a little bit on the left, and gotta turn my head left and right when I cross the street. You know, when I cross the street, we're gonna take my head left and right when I cross the street, you know. So that's what it is now, because you never know, what if the brakes malfunction? So those are things which I gotta take in mind, into consideration, right? If the brakes malfunction, you know what, I'm gonna go towards the sun, although towards the making the sun, although it's not that clear, you know. But nonetheless, you know how I love to go towards the SUN, and that's how I'm gonna go do it about it. And I'm actually craving some, I'm always craving wafers, you know. That's kind of my go thing, wafers, and in which wafers is my treat. Hey, that's beautiful. Look at that rainbow dragon singing out loud, rock and roll on the wind. They be spinning so beautifully. Oh, that's beautiful. Kind of like that artistic, you know. It's something which I am, of course, on the meditative side. So maybe I'm just gonna drive it. I think I know what I'm gonna do. Cause I got $5, so I got a sweet tooth. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go to the market and come back, clock it, and that's what it is with that. So it's something which, of course, I have choices. Actually, I have options, I guess, different options, you know, for going for the sweets. But I gotta salute the truckers. LOV to the truckers, now thinking about them on the road. And you know, with this ASPE, got an Asperger's, HFA, high functioning autism. Asperger's means that I have super focused interest, where when I'm involved in those interests, also known as special interests, those special interests are also known as obsessive interests. But for yours truly, obsessive is an appellation terminology which I do not use myself. Obsessive has a more negative connotation, while for neurodivergent citizens like myself, who sing that North Americans unite 24/7, and my special interest, also known as obsessive interest, is the holy trinity for me. Is geopolitics, the study, the analysis of geopolitics, being an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist who has, of course, predicted an international conflagration. So I actually predicted what's happening now across the world in a general manner, perhaps not in an overall very detailed manner, but in an overall manner. I predicted an international conflagration back in 2019, and this morning, geopolitical study analysis of the daily events, and of course the main focus is the new incoming Trump administration, Trump presidency, second term of Trump, which have begun challenging on to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border when Donald Trump imposed tariffs of 10% on Canadian aluminum and steel, when Donald Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel back in 2018, when Donald Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel in 2018. You know, there was a imposition of tariffs, and I have been eminent and continue to challenge Donald Trump to a boxing match. And my will to build, of course, is to build the North American people's Imperial Coliseum. To build the North American people's Imperial Coliseum, to construct the North American people's Imperial Coliseum, parallel with the Forgotten Goddess Temple, you know. Gotta get that GODDSS, and here I gotta turn my head left and right, because you never know. The brakes can potentially malfunction. The citizen driver might press the accelerator instead of the brake, and that can be problematic. So I'm just gonna be, oh, thank you for the priority. It gives me priority to traverse cross. I guess here it's kind of the rule, regulation, the rule, law, rule, regulation. And in my neighborhood here, gotta be attentive, you know, just because it's possible that brakes malfunction and the citizen driver might press the accelerator instead of the brake. I'm outside of my dragon's lair where I struck a time. I lost power today, a little bit, electricity, and I was delayed a bit. And then I did what I always do. I just get lost in geopolitical analysis and theories. And stretching, fitness, and sports. Dancing is my favorite sport, and dancing is my favorite fitness activity. And rock and roll, so that's my holy trinity. And I am involved on a daily intensity with super focused concentration. Whenever I work out, train, exercise, dancing being my favorite sports. My favorite sport is dancing, and favorite fitness activity is dancing. As now I bust a dance move with my head and imagine choreography in my head. Choreography, dance. I love dancing. Dancing is my favorite sport. And rock and roll, you know, 24/7 rock and roll, dancing, or fitness and sports, which is, for me, dancing is my favorite sport and favorite fitness activity. So that's kind of one thing. And geopolitics, being an independent geopolitical analyst and theorist who has predicted an international conflagration back in 2019. In October, November, I predicted an international conflagration, and since then, of course, I'm kind of in World War III mode. I created my own workout training program system, which is efficient, simple, and effective. Lost between 80 and 93 pounds. Got out of being depressed. Was suicidal, and cross Canada, coast to coast. Cross Canada, traverse coast to coast in August and September, and that event completely turned my life around. And since then, of course, I've been on the fitness journey. That event, when I crossed Canada coast to coast more than 7 years ago, made me establish a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians, and our family pledge your allegiance, friends with benefits only. Don't want to waste anybody's time, friends with benefits only. Don't want to waste nobody's time, friends with benefits only. I don't want to waste anybody's time. I gotta check my eyes because I was checking the number and I couldn't see from far away. So I think I have to go to the optometrist because I was focused on the numbers 44 there, and the other numbers, which I thought, hey, how come so I think I have to check to go for my optometrist, but I've been waiting for a doctor it's been more than 3.5 years now, you know, of my weight, because cannot afford a private care, private consultant, private doctor at the moment. Is being just financially stressed, you know, and only in the past 44 plus months, more than 4 months, because I finally, after years and years of several people who have diagnosed me with high functioning autism, Asperger's, many years ago. So finally, you know, I rejected it for a long time, but finally a few years ago during COVID, which I survived, finally during COVID I accepted it. So since there's no symptoms, no medication, I just gotta manage, because there's no medication. It's not a mental illness, Asperger's. It's just I'm neurodivergent. It can be very strange and weird in social interactions and lack certain abilities, and I'm not that prone to certain social cues, and social interactions can come more difficult, and there's characteristics. I do not use the appellation symptoms because it's more characteristics for Asperger's, because it's not a mental illness per se. It's just a neurodivergent. It makes part of a tiny minority of citizens, you know, who have a 0.44, less than 1%, less than half of a percentile, have Asperger's or high functioning autism, so I gotta live with it. And I just decided randomly to go check if there's any sweets on special here. Any sweets on special, so I'm gonna check for specials in the stores, and that's what I'm gonna be doing, you know, just checking a little bit of sweets, and gonna check it out. Perfect, just what I like. Just, I came to the right spot. 2 hazelnut or 2 chocolate. I think I'm gonna go with 2 chocolates now. So wafers, which I like. So from $2.19 to $1.25 on special. From $2.19 to $1.25. I do not buy the vanilla. I buy the strawberry chocolate or hazelnut, but now I feel like getting 2 chocolates and hazelnut, and I'm gonna compare and contrast them with the ones that I usually buy, which are the ones from Maxi. So the ones from Maxi.
Debit, credit, or chocolate?
Cash.
Is
it $5.20?
Yeah, $5.15.
It's 15.
Would you like the receipt?
It doesn't matter really. Just bring it to the car and I'll bring it.
Hi.
Do you have the moi card?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
They're $1.25, right?
Yeah. So $3.75 total. Debit, credit, or cash?
Cash.
Cash is, yeah, $3.75.
Oh, there's no taxi.
No.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Do you know until when is this special gonna end? Do you know when, for how long it is?
Was it the weekly one? Do you know if...
I don't know. I just saw it there. It was from $2.19 to $1.25.
Was it red or blue, the tag?
Oh, good question.
Because if it's red, it ends each Wednesday, but if it was blue, it would be written on the tag.
Okay. Okay, well, I might be back tomorrow if anything. Thank you very much. Bye. Yeah. So that was good. Gotta say my gratitude, you know. 125, so 375 and 219 times 3, the original price. So that means I saved 75 cents plus 19 cents. 75 cents plus 19. That's 75 cents plus 19 cents. That's 94 cents, right? 94 cents. So I saved 94 cents, 94 cents. Almost a dollar. So 219 would have costed me 219 times 3 would have been 6. Would have been 657, right? Wow, 219 times 3 is 657. I paid 375 because there's no tax for 3. So hell of a deal. Hey, somebody led me, because usually I don't go shop there, but I usually go for my 125 wafers, and these I get 200 grams compared with 175. Is just that 125, you know? So 175 grams I got for the same price. I get 75 more grams because I bought 3. So the other ones that I buy are 175 grams. So see how my ASPE, sometimes we can be weird with mathematics. We tend to calculate things, the cost per unit, and the cost per unit, and all the costs, like just the numbers kind of, I don't know how, because I don't remember high school, you know. I have like retrograde amnesia, blackouts of memory, you know, trauma, but math, for some reason, some numbers and mathematical calculations and percentages and fractions, especially percentages and stuff like that, I'm pretty good just calculating those. Like answers kind of popped in my mind, you know. The answers kind of popped in my mind. So yeah, so I saved, so from 219 each, I paid 125. So that means that I saved 94 cents, right? 94 cents. So I almost saved $1 each, almost by 6 cents. 6 cents each. 6 cents, because 94 plus 6 is $1. So I saved, and then we can calculate exactly how much I saved, right? Because if it's $3 and minus 6 3 times, 6 times 3 is 18, then minus 18, right? So it's $3 minus 18 cents. It's exactly, I saved $2.82. I saved exactly $2.82. $2.82. I just said the calculations out loud, but they actually pop in my brain, you know. I have no idea how, because I don't remember high school. I do not just remember moving like 9 years ago or so. I remember moving from a moldy place, and for that I was kind of like surprise attack and have like retrograde amnesia, kind of blackouts of memory. But I remember mostly the past 7 plus years, especially after crossing Canada coast to coast, when that event changed my whole life. And before that I was depressed, suicidal, and that event really changed my whole life. I'm just gonna find a place to stack them inside here and gonna get that calculation. So I'm excited. Less than $5. I paid $3.75 for 3, and both are 200 grams. See, all of the 3 each are 200 grams. So that means that I paid this exactly the same price as I usually buy the other ones. But since the other ones are 175 grams, that means that 200 minus 175 is 25 grams. 25 grams. So I get 25 grams more per each package. So that's 75 times 3. So I get 75 grams total plus for the same price. So I get more. In other words, I get 25 grams each, because the other package is not 200 grams as this one. The other package is 175 that I buy for 125. But these ones usually are more expensive, so I got them with exactly the same price as I get my regular ones. Now I'm gonna assess the quality. Will I like these ones better, or will I stick to the old ones? Because the old ones have increased in price from $1 to $1.25. So I also got to take that into assessment and consideration. Nonetheless, I'm happy. I have wafers after my workout and Gotta get back early today because doing a little bit of that mathematics, a little bit of that math, you know. So that's what we gotta get doing on that. That's what we gotta get doing. And here I'm gonna wait for my fellow citizens, you know, to get past. And to get past here, I gotta just make sure, you know, that I cross. I'm actually gonna go like a snake roundabout. Nothing wrong with snakes, by the way, but anyway, so the only thing to assess, because these ones have each are bigger packages, not by a lot, by 25 grams. The other ones that I usually buy are 175. These are 200 grams now. So I got 600 grams. But if you add 25 grams times 3, that's 75 grams. So for the same price, I get more quantity. More quantity today I got, because usually that's not the regular price. I got them on special, but it's just mental calculations, you know, just mental calculations in mathematics. Price per unit cost, then price per how much I saved, which is I didn't really save compared to the other ones, but I usually save from their regular price of this specific brand. Well, the brand that I have, they're only one certain store, but it's not. I'm gonna have to just now compare the quality. So that's it. That's all with the adventure of buying wafers. Here, you know, from my neighborhood, and I'm really glad that, I don't know, because I was gonna go to get wafers from my old place. I say old place, but that's because, you know, sometimes I just buy the same food items, and and it can seem kind of weird and awkward, but that's just how sometimes it is, you know. Just sometimes that's just how things are, you know, with people with Asperger's, and that's it. That's all with that, and that's how it is. And I'm gonna assess the quality, encouraging all the workout, training, exercise, working out, training, exercising, you know, has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice, you know. And saluting the firefighters, LOV, the firefighters, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery store clerks, and all involved in the production, in the distribution of food. I gotta send some LOV all the way, you know, to the bakers, the nurses, those in the daycares who change some diapers. I wonder what's happening with this building here. It's boarded up. It says danger, but here's one way, but still turn your head left or right, because you never know, you know, people can make mistakes. Danger. It says danger, but it doesn't mention what danger. It doesn't mention what specifically, you know. It's boarded up, but whatever the case may be, I guess it's the boarded up of the. We need to reconstruct. This could be a perfect fit for homeless, or for homeless if you can invest, you know. We need to mass rebuild the North American urban infrastructure, the ghettos. That one could be reconstructed and made social housing, half social housing, affordable housing, half for the homeless, I guess. You know, we need to mass finance the rebuilding of the North American ghettos, the North American urban infrastructure. We need to mass rebuild, mass finance. My DRT theory, of course, is one of the solutions, which of course will be the solution, you know. So the DRT theory is the only solution at this point in time where we are, of course. It's the only solution where we are at this point in time, you know. For the circumvision, the vision, of course, of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, you know, is something which we gotta do, and something which we gotta focus on, you know, as we are here in the neighborhood, and in my neighborhood, Integree, Notre Dame de Grace. And I used to live in Côte-de-Neige. I just remember moving, and I was moved from a moldy place. It's moldy. I moved, I crossed Canada coast to coast. That event made me come out of being depressed and suicidal, you know? Made me come out of being depressed and suicidal. And that's what it is with that. And so we gotta go doing with that, you know. And we gotta get that circumcision, and we gotta also meditate, you know. When I see, you have a little bit of meditation about the pipes, you know. See, and the electrical infrastructure grid, that's still made of wood. See, some of them are still made of wood, so we have to mass rebuild the infrastructure. These wooden ones, I think it's time for them to be replaced, you know. We got a lot of work in North America. Got a lot of work. Public workers, LOV. Public workers, we got a lot of work in North America. We got a lot of work in North America. We got a lot of work in North America, you know. We got a lot of work in North America, you know, a lot of work. Public work, my work as an independent philosopher, artist, athlete, geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist is gonna do just a little stop to just bag. Actually, I don't even need to. I can check if I can bag them in the lion bag, and auctioning everything that you see me wearing, you know. So maybe I can do that, and like that I don't have to take off my backpack. Let's see. Maybe we can work something out there. Oh yeah, I believe I can. So I'm gonna stack one in my backpack, the second one in my backpack. Let's see. The second one, and the third one for the victory. The third one for the victory. See? 1, 2, 3. There you can see they're stacked in the lion. I wonder if the lions would eat wafers. Feed the lion some wafers. See the lion. Thank you to my anonymous friend who got me the lion bag. The lion bag. It's auctioning for $1 million. Gonna give 50% half to my anonymous friend. Time to put those gloves and gonna go roundabout. I see the sun is somewhere because the sun always rises, always sets, but it seems to have been dissipated, you know. Seems to have been in the dissipation, you know. Got a glimpse, my Publik king, who now rises and now sits, you know. Every second we gotta take into consideration time zones. Time zones are a factor, you know. Time zones, gotta be meditating on the time zones, and I wonder, I got to double check what's happening with this company. Also, speaking of lion, see, it says it's the Lion, Lion company. That bus is 100% electric, and I heard that they got some finances because they were financially struggling. Like myself today, I'm just financially struggling, but I'm grateful, thankful. Financial stress aside, you know, gotta sing my song. Grateful, thankful. My rent's paid, electricity bill's paid, and got food, got coffee, and friends with benefits only. Don't want to waste nobody's time. Friends with benefits only. Don't want to waste nobody's time. And thanks for understanding. And you know, I'm pretty creative. Aspies, we can be creative, imaginative, but I lack certain social cues. I am mediocre, average, and so-so at some things. I'm mediocre, average, and so-so. Well, I guess I'm great, super, and excellent at some other things, especially geopolitics. Being an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist who has predicted the international conflagration, and geopolitical theoretical analysis is 24/7, which yours truly is 24/7. Sometimes I just get lost in time. I lose notion of time, you know, and I just do geopolitical analysis, theoretical analysis, revision of my philosophies, my theories, revise, redo, and that's what I do, you know. Philosopher and geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, and philosopher, artist, athlete, create dance choreography, and then rock and roll 24/7, even in the snow. I wonder when that building was done and built, and you know, I always put the buildings, the infrastructure of Quebec, Canada, you know. I was born in the United States 3 times, post 76, once as a woman, twice as a man, served in the same United States Army, 156 years apart. You get that 50-50 now. Androgynous, pansexual, and reminds me I forgot. Well, I'm going to be back in time, I guess, because I'm going to be back early today. Just doing a little bit of going and coming, and I'm going to get it for a little bit on the foot here, a little bit on the stretching, and a little march, not too long today, a little marching dance, stretching a little bit of exercise, those legs, you know, encouraging all, go for a walk, half an hour. Usually I average more than 4 hours. That's my minimum 4 hours I average. That's what I got to average weekly, and during COVID, marched more than the generals of NATO during COVID. Survived COVID. It was really sick, death, pestilence, and disease. That's what it felt like. And I always say it was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. COVID, that is, for me, for yours truly. And survived it. And here I am, survived COVID, and gotta get it on the XYZ, and XYZ with that. And that's what we gotta get doing with that. And sometimes we just gotta go in it. And that's what we gotta get doing, So gotta salute firefighters, LOV, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, all involved in the production, distribution of food. Gotta turn my head left or right, left or right, left or right, When I cross the street, gotta turn my left or right, gotta turn my head left or right. And of course, go on the move. And always saluting the firefighters, LOV, firefighters, butchers, bakers, train conductors, transporting those grains in the trucks, and the nurses, plumbers, electricians, IT workers. Always thinking about all the works, the activities. Quebec, Canada, North America, across the North American Collective. My call to all willingly loving to support the dream, pledge your allegiance, friends with benefits only, do not will to waste anybody's time. My will to build on the Canadian-US border, joint public-private partnership initiatives, just like the NHL, but furthermore integration. The North American People's Imperial Coliseum, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum. With the Forgotten Goddess, Temple, Forgotten Goddess, Temple, the Forgotten Goddess, Temple, GODDSS. Credited trillions of kisses. I got credited trillions of kisses from the Forgotten Goddess, and kisses I got by the trillions marching steps. By the trillions of marching steps, kisses with it, kisses, KISSES. Kisses I got by the trillions. Some rock and roll, my Trinity of theories, the CIT Citizen Integration Theory. Red, my favorite color. The Citizen Integration Theory. DRT, Detrol Fusion Theory, DFT, the Democratic Fusion Theory, that Trinity of theories to be implemented via the fourth dimension across the North American Collective North American Civilisation Complex to create complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, public-private partnership-based fundamental DGA, Dancing Goddess Army, aka the North American Integrated Dance League, for the environment, for dancing for pleasure, and of course the Dragon Army for security, service, and defense only. Security, service, and defense only. Security, service, and defense only and solely. And of course, to build the pyramid, House of the Dragon, Scarlet, Crimson, Scarlet, Crimson, Red. Scarlet, Crimson, Red. And of course, to build the Rainbow People's Palace for my fellow LGBTQ community, being androgynous, pansexual. You get that 50-50, and put first and foremost trillions of kisses on the table, lots of marching steps, rock and roll, we gotta get it for that rock and roll. Turn your head switch left and right before you cross the street, and here I gotta watch out for my fellow citizens, just like driving, gotta stay on the right side, and gotta be mindful of my own neurodivergence. And sometimes people with Asperger's, we have weird clumsiness and weird bodily movements and weird, strange ways that our physical appearance or physical movements might seem a bit like tics or ritualized bodily movements. It's just how we as people like myself with Asperger's are. So give permission to laugh. I'd rather people laugh, but some things are serious. I predicted the World War III situation that's currently unfolding, a international conflagration back in 2019, because that's what I do on the daily, in intensity, super focus and concentration, geopolitics, geopolitical theorizing, geopolitical analysis, and being an independent athlete, independent artist, independent philosopher, independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, and I guess semi-independent, wannabe Telemite, bury me with Papa Crowley up in New Jersey. Love to Lema, still trying, gotta give a salutation to public workers who did the snow removal operations, who did the snow removal operations, sitting on the big trucks. I think they did a good job, Gotta send them some LOV, takes public-private partnership. Please, Wall Street, buying, selling Wall Street millionaires, give some free tickets to the public workers, those who pick up the garbage, the recycling, the nurses, LOV firefighters, NFL, please, NFL National Football League, NHL National Hockey League, NBA National Basketball Association, MLB. Please give them some of those tickets, sports tickets. Reduce the cost of the tickets, please. NFL National Football League, NHL National Hockey League, NBA National Basketball Association, MLB. Please reduce the tickets cost by 44.9%, 44.9%, because that's about a cost that need to be reduced in order to sustain the current levels of economic hardship. And of course, the prices have increased. The eggs, the butter, even the wafers that I used to purchase were $1 a few months ago. They increased from $1 to $1.25, but that's still 25%, so it adds up. So prices of bacon, prices of eggs, prices of bread, prices of cheese, prices of milk, the goods, the necessary food items, the prices have increased. So those are the basics. And then the rent and other goods, and I'm grateful, thankful. January 16 today, rent's paid, electricity bills paid. It's January 16 today, rent's paid, electricity bills paid. Oh, what is that? That's cool. There's a walking sauna. That's so cool. I think it's a sauna. It says sauna on it. So, I could use a massage therapy session, but cannot afford it. Financially stressed, but I had that $5. Spent 375 cents. So $3.75. So try to figure out what percentage I spent. If I had $5 and I got changed $1.25, you can figure out the percentage, or I guess the ratio, ratios. I guess the ratio could be, right? If it's $1.25 times 4, which is 5, so the ratio could be 3/4 that I spent, right? 3/4. 3/4. Don't ask me how. I just got the answer like that. So sometimes my Aspies utilize too much intellectual, sophisticated, verbose, academic language and linguistic functionality, which is not really necessary. It's just the characteristics of people with Asperger's, high-functioning autistics like myself, are those. And in certain things I have more difficulty, and I had difficulty, and lost lots of friends, made lots of friends in the past 7 years, lost most of them, I guess, especially at the Pride parades. I made friends, different friends at Pride parades and hookups with my fellow LGBTQ community, but after a few telephones, messages, I said, I'm not texting back, I'm not calling back this weirdo, so I lived isolation, but I don't mind. I'm joyous today. In the past years since I survived COVID, and I learned to manage my symptoms and to be joyous. Gratitude on the daily, carpe diem every day. I do have hope for tomorrow, but since 2020, February, March, I'm going to be marking 5 years since I survived COVID. 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 It's going to be soon. So since then, I live carpe diem every day, encouraging all to work out, train, exercise, and we gotta get the North American Collective Union. Let's get that North American Collective Workers Party, North American Collective Workers Party, centrist, democratic, Republican, pro-labor and love, universal, revolutionary, centrist, democratic, Republican, pro-labor and love, revolutionary, centrist, meaning that my pro-labor and love, revolutionary centrism is tied hand in hand with my Trinity of theories. So it cannot be disassociated from my democratic republicanism, my pro-labor and love revolutionary centrism, but my centrism is pro-North American centric, because fundamentally I'm a Quebecer, Canadian, North American, Canadian, Quebecer, North American. As much as I know the ideologies, conflicts, and worldwide, global, international geopolitics and events on the daily and in the past and 20th century history and politics, and because history and politics, they're part of the geopolitical sphere, right? So in geopolitics, you have to have some awareness of historical, cultural, philosophical, key for world peace, for North American Union, keys for North American Union, keys for North American Union, keys for the DRT. The DRT, now I'm going to discuss it. North Americans Unite. The DRT, debt refusion to my brothers and sisters, as much as you will to argue, it is the only solution at this point in time. It is the only solution at this point in time. Get it to my head, left or right. Left and right. Left and right, left and right. The DRT theory, debt refusion theory, is the only solution. Is the only solution. Debt refusion theory is the only solution. Debt refusion theory. Debt refusion theory is the only solution. My pronunciation that the DRT is the only solution is, of course, due to the fact that, of course, we now pay. Listen to this. So the motive, the reason why my statement is that my DRT theory, financial DRT theory, is the only solution, is of course due to the fact that we now pay 46.5 billion in interest. A billion has 9 zeros. Got to keep that in mind. A billion has 9 zeros. A billion has 9 zeros. A billion has 9 zeros. A billion is 1,000 million. That's how much we pay just in interest. So as much as you will to argue, brothers and sisters, my DRT theory, debt refusion theory, is the only solution. There's no other solution but my debt refusion theory. The DRT, debt refusion theory for the for the creation of the for the creation of the universal exchange unit. For the creation of the universal exchange unit. For the creation of the universal exchange unit. You know? For the creation of the universal exchange unit. So my DRT theory, debt refusion theory, is the only solution. The debt refusion theory. Debt refusion theory. So the DRT, debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE, the universal exchange unit. So again, paying interest, the interest which we paid on the public debt of Canada, and don't want to be alarmist, but it could start tomorrow. Tomorrow, Friday, the 17th of January. Monday, just before Donald Trump gets officially sworn in as president, gets officially sworn in as president, we can have and we can see a public financial collapse of Canada, a financial collapse of Canada, public financial collapse of Canada, a public financial collapse of Canada, a public financial collapse of Canada, a public financial collapse, a black swan event, what's called in finance, a black swan event, a black swan event, a black swan event. It can happen, a public financial collapse, due to the fact that servicing the public debt has more than doubled. In 2020, 2021, the amount of interest only, debt servicing is the interest paid on the public debt, went from 20.3 billion, which is the equivalent of 20,000 million, to 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion. Can you imagine that? 46.5 billion, 46.5 billion, 46.5 billion. So it more than doubled to 46.5 billion to 46.5 billion. So 46.5 billion it is the amount today. So in 2020, 2021, it was 20.3 billion. 20.3 billion. That double would have been 40.6. It would have been 40.6. So more than double. So there's no way but my DRT theory. I'm just going to salute once we build the public workers, the bridges of North America, public workers of North America, LOV, EEE, and the train conductors. That's going east, that's going west. That's going east, that's going west. Salutation to the train conductors, Quebec, Canada, North America. The debt refusion theory is the only solution. The interest we pay on the public debt of Canada has more than doubled, yes. Due to COVID, the programs implemented due to COVID to salvage a population in the dire situation of the health crises, which was COVID, which I had. I thought that was it for me when I had COVID in 2020, February, March. I thought that was it. I thought I was going to die. In many ways, I did die. Nothing that I want to go back today for yesterday. It's today with hope for tomorrow. Today with hope for tomorrow. Today with hope for tomorrow, you know. Today with hope for tomorrow. So that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. So I'm going to now explain it, but keep in mind that my debt refusion theory also includes monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory is exactly the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. Monetary integration theory was exactly the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, including my $10,000. I got $10,000 in debt to the Royal Bank of Canada, to the RBC, $10,000 Canadian, $10,000 Canadian in debt to the RBC. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, my debt, my debt, my debt, your debt, whatever the case may be, my debt, your debt, all the public and the private debt, including my $10,000. So all the debt, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, we're gonna put it together. So all that debt, we're gonna convert all the Canadian public private debt into US dollars, because the United States dollar still is the currency of choice for world trade, international business, global commerce, import, export, foreign affairs, tourism, and etc., etc., etc. So all the debt, public and private, including my citizen, as a citizen, I got $10,000 in debt. So all the public and the private debt, all the private and the public debt, we're gonna take it all. All the public and the private debt. We're gonna take all the public and the private debt. We're gonna convert it into US dollars. 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 Into US dollars. We're gonna convert it into US dollars. So all that debt, public and private, is gonna be converted into US dollars. It's gonna be converted into US dollars. That number, we're gonna add it, Canada first, Canada, US, binational simultaneously. Like the establishment of the NHL, National Hockey League, which is not really national, it's binational, like the establishment of the PVHL. So all the public and the private debt put together, all the public and the private debt put together. Converted to US dollar, the Canadian public private debt, added with the US, if they will, Canada, Mexico, part of North America, Mexico, Haiti, Jamaica, Cuba now is a paradox because they're Marxist socialists and they're on the verge to join BRICS and have establishing some relations with Russia and China, and whatever the case may be. I'm not going to go into a divergent geopolitical discussion of Cuba, but Cuba is part of what I call the North American civilizational complex, or the complex of North American civilization of North America. So, we're going to take all the public-private debt, Canada, US jointly, if they will, other nation states could be extended, blah, 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 blah. So all the debt, public and private debt, converted to US dollars, is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. Because my DRT theory contains monetary integration theory, which is exactly the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. So in the European Union, they destroyed the Germans, they destroyed their national central banks in Germany, and they annulled their Deutschmark, their old currencies back in the 90s. The French also, so they do not longer have national central banks. They have a supranational central bank. Many countries, nation states, Germany, Italy, France, and many other countries in Europe, Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, Austria, they have a common central bank, the ECB, the European Central Bank. They destroyed their old central bank. So we're going to do the same. We're going to create a North American central bank. Into it, we're going to create a new currency based on the value of the US dollar called the UE. U.universal, E.exchange, U.unit. U.universal, E.exchange, U.unit. U.universal, E.exchange, U.unit. The UE, the Universal Exchange Unit. Based on the value of the US dollar, we're going to set an interest rate level of 10%. It could be 10% maximum. It could be less, 3.33, 7.18, 6.1, 9.3, 1.56, below 10. It's not going to be able to be more than 10%. It's not going to be able to be more than 10%. It's not going to be able to be more than 10%. So that's what it's going to be, 10% maximum. With all that money, we're going to be able to rebuild the infrastructure, the bridges of the North American Collective. We're going to rebuild the infrastructure of North America, mass finance citizens to work out, train, exercise, mass finance tourism across the North American Collective complex, mass finance the rebuilding of the North American urban cities, aka the North American ghettos, mass rebuilding of the North American ghettos, aka the North American integrated, the North American urban cities, the inner cities of North America, aka the urban cities, aka the ghettos of North America. We're gonna mass billions investment in opportunity and rebuilding the ghettos of North America. It's time, 21st century. We're gonna mass finance fitness. We're gonna build 44 tunnels, build 44 tunnels, the number after 43 before 45. is 44. We're gonna build 44 tunnels across the North American civilizational complex, across North America, and of course to stack them with food, and that's what we're gonna get doing to build, of course, the building of these 44 tunnels for, and in case of a North American, of a thermonuclear war, in case for the survival and the continuity of the North American civilizational complex, in case of a thermonuclear war. Build 44 tunnels, implement Operation Northern Scorpio for security service and defense, establish do a census, do a great North American census, see everybody who's been living here since 2017, do a great North American integrated census, create the 2 complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, Dragon Army, North American Citizen Security Service and Defense Force, aka the Dragon Army. King is absent. King is absent, my fellow brothers and sisters. The king is absent. You know, we gotta get on that republic. The king is absent. We gotta get on that republic, you know. The king is absent. Oh my gosh. The king is absent. I was just looking at the icicles. And for safety, for consideration, those look very big and look a little bit on the dangerous side. So that is the DRT theory, the debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE. So we're gonna create and do, of course, the North American integrated complex. So the DRT theory explained, DRT theory explained is gonna be creation the UE, and we're gonna get the UE. And we're gonna mass finance citizens to work out, train, exercise, rebuild the infrastructure, rebuild the bridges, and do a lot of building, do a lot of work, Arbeit, for security and service, and of course, implement Operation Northern Scorpio, do a North American census, see, establish who's been living here for at least 7 years and with certain characteristics, who hasn't left in the past year, who has left, who is out of the country, out of North America, Canada, US, for more than a year, if not considering armed forces and NATO military deployments. We're going to implement Operation Northern Scorpio for defense coast to coast via and do by my theory, total mobile defense theory, the total mobile defense theory, the TM, total mobile defense theory system. Total mobile defense theory system. The TM, total mobile, TM, total mobile, TMD, total mobile D, total mobile defense theory. The TM, total mobile, the TM, total mobile defense theory. The TMDT, also known as the TMDTS, or the TMD for sure, the total mobile defense theory, but the theory has to be put into practice, so it's kind of like a theoretical system. The total mobile defense theory, which I'm not going to discuss because it's for national security purposes, I do not will to discuss, but that's what it is with that, that's what it is, and that's what we need to get doing, you know. Implement the Operation Northern Scorpio, the Northern Hawk, build, of course, North American integrated Hawk defense, of course, for Hawks, and to get it for their defense for the Hawks, and get it for their defense, of course, there, get it for their defense for the Hawks there, and that's what it is with that, and that's what we gotta get doing. Starts with me now today, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, all my family here, Quebecers, Canadians, and we're gonna maintain the French language, so I'm gonna put an effort, you know, to spin a little bit on that French, and this is the great compromise we made, the great linguistic compromise for the continuance, maintenance, harmonious relationship in the North American collective, the French language, 10 plus million Quebecers, you know. And we're gonna keep on doing it, and the Dragon Army, North American Defense Security Service Force, you know, we're gonna be listening to some, once in a while, to some a Celine Dion French song with that translation. Celine Dion song with that translation. So we just gotta rock and roll, you know. The dream, my dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership across the North American collective. Is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership across the collective North American civilizational complex across North America. pledge your allegiance to our family, you know. So that's all we need to do. That's all we need to do, and that's all we need to circumvent and circumspect, and we gotta get it for those cooks, the butchers, the bakers, LOV to the firefighters, LOV to the firefighters, LOV to the firefighters. Please, billionaires, millionaires, Wall Street, finance the firefighters of North America. Finance them a massage therapy session. The public workers to pick up the garbage with it. Pick up the garbage, the recycling, public workers, nurses with them, you know. LOV. I'm financially stressed, so financially cannot contribute, but money is to buy, sell. The my theory, the DRT, debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE, is the only solution. It's possible to have a black swan event, you know. It's possible that we have a black swan event, and that black swan event we're gonna have to cut. Imagine in paying the interest on the debt. Public debt of Canada has more than doubled. So imagine in a personal scenario, as an individual, your debt interest, just the interest that you paid on the debt, went from, let's say in 2020, 2021, it was 156. And last year, December, you had to pay more than double. You had to pay 333. So from 156, you had to pay 333. From 156, you had to pay 333. While the salaries, most of the salaries have only increased by 2%, 4%, 5%, 10%, 10%, 15%, whatever the case may be. Whatever the case may be, whatever the case may be. Whatever the case may be, whatever the case may be. So it would have been double, it would have been double that, and that's what it is with that, you know. So it would have been that case, that's what it would have been, you know. It would have been on the, you would have had to cut something from your budget, whether not buying wafers, not buying bacon, not buying wine, cheese, going out less, cutting, well, you have to pay rent and electricity. I always pay my rent and electricity. But first, you know, rent, electricity, together they go together, you know. I always paid more than 7+ years I lived there, I always paid, and although financially struggling, tight budget, like I got a $5 budget, I didn't go over budget, I had $5, you know. Now I still have a few dollars to last me until February, you know. So that's what it is, and always open for business, always open for business, always open for business. That's what it is with yours truly. So if your debt would have doubled, if your debt would have doubled, just paying the interest on the debt, that means automatically that you have to, or you're gonna have, of course, to cut somewhere, because you cannot sustain, you know. From 156, if your interest that you pay on your debt goes from 156, let's say, to 333, although it could be a different number, but doubled, because that's what happened to the public debt of Canada. Paying the public debt of Canada is more than double now. It's more than double. That's what happened. It went from 20.3 billion, that's 23,000, a billion has 9 zeros, to of course, whatever the case may be. So whatever it is with that, they're gonna get it for the go. I'm just gonna have to throw some trash. Gonna have to throw some trash here. So we're gonna have to get that DRT, and we gotta get it doing with that, and that's what we gotta get doing, you know. We're gonna get it doing with that, and it's the debt would have of course get it on the debt, and that's what they're gonna go to do, and we're gonna get it on the XYZ, and that's what it's gonna be. Well, imagine your debt servicing with a double, you know. With a double. That's what it is with that. That's what it is. If it would have doubled, that means that from 156 to 333, you have to cut. What are we gonna cut? It's possible probably financial collapse. What are we gonna cut? The prisons, the security forces, police services, firefighters. What are other public services? Picking up the sanitation, the cleaning, the recycling, the garbage. But obviously, if just the interest on the debt doubled, if just the interest on the debt, paying the interest on the public debt doubled, while the GDP, the economy of Canada has not doubled. The economy of Canada has not doubled. Obviously, there has to be, it's just like an individual. If paying the interest doubles, just like in the pub, that's the point. Paying the interest on the public debt of Canada has more than doubled, yes, due to COVID. If your interest payments double while your salary only increases 5, 10 or 15%, you have to cut some things. Whatever Netflix, Disney, whatever expenses somewhere in the budget. There's no way. This is just mathematics. Unless your salary also doubles. But very few salaries. Unless your salary also doubles. But very few salaries. Unless your salary also doubles. That's just mathematics, financial mathematics. So there's no solution. The solution is my DRT theory, debt refusion theory, or something very similar to it. Where you can argue all you want, but there's no argument with what it is. Where we are today, 16th of January 2025, myself included, financially stressed, but paradoxically, due to my suffering, struggling, scars, trauma, all that, being having Asperger's, HFA, high functioning autistic, and geopolitics being my obsessive interest, and aka my special focused interest. When you study geopolitics, you have to know a little bit about public finances. See, now my mind focuses to geopolitics, and I turn my psyche turns, of course, into integrating this in my geopolitical analysis, because the public transport is open for sabotage. The public transport is open for sabotage, The public transport is open for sabotage, just like, of course, the electric, the power grids, things like that. So, because we made potential enemies of strong forces, which we made potential enemies, That's what it is with that, and that's what we gotta be implementing, the DRT, debt refusion theory. There's no other way around that. The DRT theory, that's just what it is. I'm just gonna hydrate here, and there's something very similar to it, Something very similar. Hey, merci, thank you. Or something very similar to it, Just gonna go hydrate. I really wish to paint here. I don't know. It's so gray. Bring me the tools, the paint, and the brushes, and the permission, and I would paint all this green, red, pink, orange. I just find it so gray. I just love to see some color. It's just very gray, the whole tunnel. I would love to see some color there, painting, So, just gonna hydrate. So that's how it is. The DRT is the only solution. You can argue all you want, but there's no other solution but my DRT theory. There's no solution but my DRT theory. That is just where we are now today. You can argue all you want, but that's how it is, That's how it is, because paying the interest on the public debt has doubled, is the principle. Mathematical financial principle is the mathematical financial principle. And that's what it is with that. And that's what it is, the mathematical financial principle. That's what it is. So that's what it is with that. And that's how we gotta get doing, the DRT debt refusion theory for the creation of the universal exchange unit. That's just how it is. The DRT, and imagine as a public individual as a public individual, you're going to have to pay double while your salary only increases by 5, 10, 15%, let's say. That's majority. Like, how many salaries have doubled? How many have doubled? Not mathematically, not many. Statistically, not many, you know. Only a few. Very few. Some people make millions, and billions, and that's what it is with that. You know, so that's what it is, you know. It's XYZ, you know, so the DRT that refusing to for the creation of the U, for the creation of the U, you know, the universal exchange. So now my mind focuses again, see, for security, service, and defense integrates this event, meaning the train crossing going west, public transport, with my geopolitical theoretical analysis of 2019, where ends have concluded that humanity is set towards a course towards an international conflagration, you know. So I'm just gonna go through the park and it's gonna be easier, so because we're open for sabotage. It's possible that powerful nation states, which are now more hostile, antagonistic towards us, due to the fact that we have involved ourselves not only in a diplomatic and humanitarian manner, but also in a military manner. You know. Also in a military manner. So since we're involved militarily, now we're prone to sabotage. Internal collective North American, Quebec, Canada, North America. Sabotage by powerful nation states, potentially, who had solidified in the past 44 plus months. Several nation states have solidified their alliance, and we had taken some positions in accord to what they perceive as their national interests and their historical conflicts, which were not fully resolved from the 20th century. For the 20th century. So the North American collective, you know. Switch to that French now because we're not a belle province, so that's all we gotta get doing with that. That's what we gotta get doing with that, and so we gotta get hop. Eh oui, une marche d'entraînement physique et la gratitude. En premièrement, avant tout, la gratitude, j'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai payé ma facture d'électricité, puis j'ai du café, puis j'ai même acheté des gaufres. J'ai acheté des gaufres en rabais de 2,19 à 1,25 $. Fait que j'avais un budget de 5 $, j'ai pu me permettre d'en acheter 3. J'aurais pu m'en acheter 4 même, parce que 4 fois 1,25 c'est exactement 5 $, parce qu'il n'y a pas de taxe là-dessus, mais c'est des gaufres qui sont habituellement 2,19 $. Et donc, pour faire le calcul, combien j'ai sauvé, c'est plus que 44%, donc c'est à peu près, c'est combien exactement? De 2,19, ça fait 19, ou plus 75 cents. Fait que ça fait exactement 84 cents par chaque. Fait que j'ai quasiment sauvé 3 $, exactement 2 $ et 82 pour l'achat de 3, par exemple. J'en achetais 3, fait que sinon c'est chaque 94 cents, quasiment 1 $, moins 6. Fait que je fais 3 $, moins 6, ça fait 2 et 82. 2,82 $, et 82 cents, c'est pour le calcul que j'ai fait de mental de même, pour calculer combien j'ai sauvé. Puis d'habitude j'achète les gaufres à 1,25 $, mais le paquet que j'achète d'habitude, il y a 175 grammes. Celle-là que je viens d'acheter, c'est 200 grammes. Fait que j'ai plus de pourcentage par 25 grammes par chaque paquet, donc 25 x 3, parce que j'en ai acheté 3, c'est 75 grammes de plus de gaufres. Ben, la seule chose que je dois faire de la vérification, c'est la qualité. Je les aime-tu mieux ceux-là ou les autres? Mais les autres sont à le prix régulier à 1,25 $. S'il n'a pas augmenté de la 2 semaines, la dernière fois que j'ai acheté, si ils sont encore le même prix, là, mais c'est possible que ceux-là, c'est pas le prix régulier, là, c'est en spécial. Et vous voyez, à cause de l'autisme mouvement fonctionnel, l'Asperger's, quand je vois le train, mon cerveau, mon mental commence à se diriger vers mes analyses en géopolitique, car je suis moi-même un analyste et théoricien en géopolitique indépendant. Puis des fois, tu sais, je passe des heures intenses à juste faire des analyses des événements géopolitiques au quotidien, puis parallèlement l'analyse en géopolitique du jour, chaque jour, puis des années, tu sais, avec cette condition de neurodivergence qui est connue comme l'Asperger, c'est l'autisme fonctionnel que c'est 24 sur 24 quasiment. Des fois, je perds la notion du temps. Je suis tellement dedans. Je peux passer des heures par jour à juste faire des analyses, des révisions des événements en géopolitique, de ma théorie en géopolitique. Puis, encore, j'ai la preuve pour ça, j'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant. J'ai prévu une conflagration internationale. J'ai prévu une troisième guerre mondiale en 2019, en octobre, en novembre. J'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant. J'ai une couple de solutions. Mon rêve, quand je dis, je fais appel à soutenir mon rêve. Prêter allégeance, légion, vous êtes famille. Je veux rien savoir d'autres choses, mais c'est bien sûr des amis avec bénéfice seulement, car je ne veux pas perdre le temps de personne. Je veux pas perdre le temps de personne. Je veux pas perdre le temps de personne. Puis, je suis messieurs, madame, 50-50, androgyne, pansexuel, mais 50-50. Je crois à la réincarnation. Des fois, j'ai été né québécoise et québécois. Ouais. Aux États-Unis, j'ai été né 3 fois après 1776. Une fois femme, 2 fois homme. J'ai servi dans l'armée des États-Unis. 2 guerres différentes, 2 guerres, 156 ans à part. Des guerres, il était 156 ans à part. Les guerres, il était 156 ans à part. Puis aujourd'hui, il faut qu'on se dirige, notre géopolitique, pour qu'il n'y ait pas de tarif de 25%. Je sais que c'est difficile, c'est sans précédent. L'administration de Trump s'en vient lundi, mais c'est bien sûr quelque chose qu'il faut qu'on travaille ensemble. On est Québécois, Canadiens, Nord-Américains. Puis notre seul, fondamentalement, notre intérêt principal pour la réalité géopolitique, c'est que notre intérêt quand même, c'est d'avoir les meilleures relations possibles avec les États-Unis. Ça, il faut comprendre ça le plus possible. N'importe quel qui se passe ailleurs dans le monde, en Amérique du Nord, puis en tant que Québécois, Canadien, Québécois, Nord-Américain aussi, tu sais, parce que moi, je suis pour l'Union de l'Amérique du Nord dans un collectif, plutôt basé sur des partenariats public-privé, puis similaire à l'Union européenne pour la création d'un passeport commun, la création d'une monnaie d'échange commune, mais avec certaines distinctions, puis bien sûr une forte sécurité sociale, là, tu sais, une forte sécurité sociale, mais c'est quand même des points de convergence pour en faire bien sûr des points de convergence là-dessus. Et donc c'est dans ce collectif nord-américain, bien sûr, qu'il faut se baser bien sûr dans ce collectif et dans cette entente, bien sûr, qu'il faut qu'on avise et puis qu'on aille bien sûr ces informations. Donc on a bien sûr ici pour le collectif nord-américain, puis en Amérique du Nord, bien sûr, c'est notre intérêt principal. Puis, encore une fois, je dis la gratitude, j'envoie des salutations à ceux qui ont fait le déneigement, les infirmières, les bouchers, les travailleurs publics et dans la sanitation publique, les travailleurs en construction, les travailleurs de l'Hydro-Québec. J'ai perdu de l'électricité aujourd'hui, mais c'était juste pendant comme, je pense, 1h44, j'ai fait le calcul, 1h44, à peu près 1h44, à peu près. C'est ça mon calcul, 1h44 à peu près, mais je dois quand même remercier, parce que c'est l'Hydro-Québec, les travailleurs du passé qui ont fait le travail bien sûr du passé, puis il faut qu'on en construise plus de centrales aujourd'hui, puis moi je vous chante du rock'n'roll. En tant qu'artiste athlète, je suis désolé, mais c'est ça que je mets sur la table, bien sûr, principalement, c'est le rock'n'roll. L'analyse, la théorie en géopolitique, ayant prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant. Puis c'est un paradoxe que j'ai la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, que c'est la seule et unique solution pour nous sortir des finances publiques. Là, on est rendu quasiment d'avoir une crise des finances publiques canadiennes. Pourquoi je me prononce ainsi? C'est car on paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts sur la dette publique. 46,5 milliards sur la dette publique. En 2024, on a payé 46,5 milliards. 1 milliard, c'est 1 million, juste l'intérêt sur la dette publique. En 2020-2021, c'était 20,3. 20,3 double, c'est 40,6. 20,3 fois 2, c'est 40,6. 20,3 fois 2, c'est 40,6. 20,3 fois 2, c'est 40,6. C'est plus que double en 3 ans, c'est sûr. J'ai eu la COVID, j'ai survécu la COVID, je dis souvent, mais je suis mort dans ma grotte de dragon. Je suis en train de renaître, je dis rien que je veux retourner en arrière. Puis en février-mars 2020, en février-mars, en février-mars 2020, en février-mars, en février puis en mars 2020, mais j'ai eu la COVID, puis je l'ai survécu. Imaginez-vous dans une situation similaire où finances publiques, que vous-même, en tant que citoyen, votre intérêt que vous payez, c'est le double. Si l'intérêt que vous payez est double, là, ça double en 3 ans. Mettons en 2020-2021, vous avez payé 156 $ d'intérêt, puis là, vous avez dû payer en décembre 2024 plus que double, soit 333, plus que double, puis si votre salaire ne double pas, il augmente juste de 5 ou 10 ou 15 %, il va falloir que vous coupez dans le budget. Hein? Moins de bacon, moins de lait, il va falloir que vous coupez. Il faut vous payer votre électricité, il faut vous payer le loyer, bien sûr. Le loyer, il faut qu'il soit payé, tu sais. L'électricité, il faut que ça soit payé. Le loyer aussi, bien sûr, tu sais. Le loyer, l'électricité, il faut que ça soit payé. Ça, c'est sûr que c'est premier, là. C'est sûr que c'est premièrement, tu sais. C'est des choses qu'il faut faire en premièrement, tu sais. C'est des choses qu'il faut savoir, tu sais. C'est des choses qu'il faut savoir, tu sais. C'est des choses qu'il faut y penser. C'est des choses qu'il faut savoir. C'est des choses qu'il faut y penser, bien sûr. C'est ça les interactions. C'est ça, la finance. Financièrement, les finances, là, les mathématiques financières, tu sais. Les mathématiques financières, c'est des choses qu'il faut qu'on y aille, tu sais, qu'on fasse ensemble. C'est des choses qu'il faut qu'on regarde. Regardez ce beau ciel. Ben, c'est sûr que si ça double, hein, si ça double, c'est plus que le double, hein, tu sais. Si c'est plus que le double, tu sais. Si c'est plus que le double, là, ça veut dire bien sûr que c'est plus que double. Ça veut dire bien sûr que... Ça veut dire bien sûr que si c'est plus que double, vous voyez là, c'est Québec-Canada. Québec-Canada, 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 bien sûr. Québec-Canada, bien sûr. Si c'est plus que double, c'est bien sûr, c'est bien sûr. C'est plus que double. Si c'est plus que double, bien sûr. Il va falloir que vous coupez dans le budget quelque part. Hein? Ben, c'est ça. S'il va falloir que vous coupez dans le budget quelque part, mais il va falloir que vous coupez dans le budget. Vous allez couper quoi? L'électricité, quoi. L'électricité, peut-être. Mais faut pas vous couper l'électricité. Il va falloir que vous coupez dans quelque chose que ça soit moins dans le budget, tu sais. Hey, c'est ça. Fait que la TRD... c'est la seule et unique solution en ce moment pour les finances publiques, tu sais. Pour les finances publiques, c'est la seule et unique solution. Théorie de la refusion de la dette. TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. La TRD pour les finances publiques. Exactement dans une situation financière individuelle, si l'intérêt que vous payez c'est double, si l'intérêt que vous payez c'est double, mais il va falloir que vous coupez quelque chose. Qu'est-ce qu'on va faire dans les finances publiques vu que l'intérêt a doublé? On va couper quoi? Le service de police, les services de prison, les services de sanitation, le ramassage des poubelles, des vidanges, puis du recyclage, puis du compostage. C'est ça. Parce que c'est exactement comme l'individu. Si l'intérêt payé, ça double, si ça double, il va falloir avoir une solution. Hein? Ben, il n'y a pas de solution. La seule solution, c'est similaire, quelque chose qui est semblable à ma TRD. La théorie de la refusion de la dette, qui inclut la théorie d'intégration monétaire, qui inclut la théorie d'intégration monétaire, qui inclut la théorie d'intégration monétaire, qui inclut la théorie d'intégration monétaire qui ont fait les Européens. Donc on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, incluant mon 10 000, ton 10 000, son 10 000, de côte à côte, on va convertir dans la devise des États-Unis. Cet argent-là, ça va fonder une nouvelle banque. Cet argent-là, ça va fonder une nouvelle banque. Cet argent-là, ça va fonder une nouvelle banque. Ça va faire la fondation d'une nouvelle banque. Tout cet argent-là. Et donc, tout cet argent-là, ça va faire la fondation de nouvelles banques. Et bien sûr, on va faire la création de nouvelles monnaies. L'unité d'échange universelle. L'unité d'échange universelle. L'unité d'échange universelle. On va faire la création de l'unité d'échange universelle basée sur la valeur du dollar des États-Unis. Basée sur la valeur du dollar des États-Unis. Tout cet argent-là, la dette publique privée, du côte à côte, principalement au Canada, mais aux États-Unis, s'étend en Amérique du Nord. S'étend en Amérique du Nord, s'étend en Amérique du Nord. Donc, on va faire similaire au Canada et aux États-Unis en même temps, prendre toute la dette publique privée. Et encore une fois, la TRD, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Donc, on va prendre toute la dette publique privée, incluant mon 10 000, mon 10 000, mon 10 000, mon 10 000, ton 10 000 de côte à côte. Tout cet argent-là, on va le ramasser ensemble. Tout cet argent-là, bien sûr, ça va être ensemble pour la création, bien sûr, d'une nouvelle monnaie d'échange. Une nouvelle monnaie qu'on va appeler l'unité d'échange universelle, basée sur la valeur du dollar des États-Unis. Bien, on va mettre un taux d'intérêt de 10% après ça. On va faire la création d'une nouvelle monnaie d'échange. Donc là, l'argent en circulation initiale, ça va être toute la dette publique privée convertie dans la devise des États-Unis. Puis on va faire la création de l'UI, unité d'échange universelle, U point, unité, E point, unité d'échange universelle. La création de l'unité d'échange universelle. Donc, toute la dette publique privée, on va la ramasser ensemble et on va faire la création de cette unité d'échange universelle. U point, unité, un point échange, du point universel. L'unité d'échange universelle, l'unité d'échange universelle. Et bien sûr, on va mettre tout ça ensemble, toute la dette publique privée, on va mettre ensemble, puis on va faire la création de l'argent initial pour cette nouvelle dette. De toute la dette. Toute la dette va être l'argent en circulation initiale. L'argent en circulation initiale, l'argent en circulation initiale, l'argent en circulation initiale. Toute la dette publique-privée, ça va être de l'argent en circulation initialement pour la création de cette nouvelle banque. Parce que ma TRD, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire, ce qui est la théorie que les Européens ont fait de l'implémentation dans les années 90. Donc ma TRD, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Avec les États-Unis, si les autres pays de l'Amérique du Nord s'y veulent, on va faire la création de cette nouvelle monnaie, une nouvelle banque centrale, comme qu'on fait en Europe, par la TRD, théorie de la réfusion de la dette. Toute la dette publique-privée, incluant mon 10 000. J'ai un 10 000 $. J'ai 10 000 $ de dette à la Banque royale moi-même en tant que citoyen. Fait que ma dette, votre dette de côte à côte, toute la dette publique-privée, on va convertir toute la dette publique-privée dans la devise des États-Unis. Cet argent-là, ça va être l'argent initial pour la création d'une nouvelle banque. Cet argent-là, ça va être l'argent initial pour la création d'une nouvelle banque. Ça va être l'argent initial pour la conversion, pour la création d'une nouvelle banque. Fait toute la dette publique-privée, Canada et États-Unis ensemble, ça va être l'argent initial en circulation de cette nouvelle banque. Puis on va créer une monnaie qu'on va l'appeler l'UI. U point, E point, U point, unité d'échange universelle. U point unité, E point échange, U point universel. L'unité d'échange universelle. On va faire la création de cette banque centrale de l'Amérique du Nord. Puis avec cet argent-là, on va rebâtir l'infrastructure du collectif nord-américain, bâtir plus de centrales d'Hydro-Québec, bâtir 44 tunnels. Pour et dans le cas d'une guerre nucléaire, inspiré par le village souterrain de Montréal, financer les gens vers l'entraînement physique, faire la création de 2 institutions de partenariat public-privé, soit l'armée du dragon, avec l'armée de la déesse qui danse pour la sécurité, le service, puis l'environnement. Ces 2 institutions de partenariat public-privé, c'est ça la TRD, théorie de la réfusion de la dette. On va créer une unité d'échange commune, Canada, États-Unis, puis même si Mexique s'y veulent, Haïti, Cuba, Jamaïque, pour la création de ces nouvelles banques. L'unité d'échange universelle, l'unité d'échange universel, l'unité d'échange universel, l'unité d'échange universel pour la création de cette nouvelle monnaie d'échange commune, pour la création de ces nouvelles banques qu'on va appeler bien sûr la Banque centrale de l'Amérique du Nord, le UI, l'unité d'échange universel, l'unité d'échange universel pour la création de cette nouvelle monnaie. On va faire bien sûr la création de cette nouvelle monnaie qu'on va appeler l'UI, U point unité, E point échange universel. On va rebâtir bien sûr, on va faire bien des choses publiques. C'est ça mon rêve, prêter allégeance les gens pour le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse, le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse, le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse est fondamentalement un royaume pour la création de cette nouvelle institution de partenariat public-privé pour le collectif nord-américain, pour l'Amérique du Nord. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution. That's all. Prêter allégeance Léger. Oh.